scared of the show too, Tony? I mean, like it be like that sometimes. So I'm just saying. I'm just saying it be like that. And we are live, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome back to the Roundtable Talk Show. Um, Before we even get to that, I wanna start here first. um, so that we don't get nothing misconstrued. Because I did let um some of my co-hosts know I'm a bit um aggravated with this particular topic. So welcome again to the Roundtable Talk Show, episode 52. This evening's topic, of course, um, or title to the show is when the corridor becomes the front line. And so we're definitely going to focus on global conflict, energy, power, politics, and the Gulf Coast community sitting on America's strategic lifeline. And so, um, out the gate, I just want to let you know, stop letting people play in your face. I'm getting a little feedback. Could y'all mute up, please? But I definitely want y'all to stop letting people play in your face because that's what's happening right now, this very instant. We got a global, I guess, like choke point heating up in the Strait of Hormuz, right? And folks still talking like it's just another overseas situation. No, that's not how this works. I just want y'all to know. That's oil, that's military movement, that's global leverage, right? And so and many others around the world shifts. And when this country shifts, this region gets coast. Beaumont, Port Arthur, Lake Charles, Houston, New Orleans, Galveston, Texas City, Baytown, all of these areas that line the entire Gulf Coast, Cameron. Um, and I want y'all to know this ain't random land. This is not just some random places um along the Gulf Coast. That's infrastructure. That's our infrastructure territory, right? And I need y'all to like hear me and my co-host very clear tonight. While global tension is rising, domestic pressure is rising also. Y'all know that, right? Enforcement activity feels different. Communities are noticing it. People are talking about it, even when it don't hit the headlines, right? And so you have incidents happening across this country. Some of us are seeing them, and some of us aren't. We're just being told about it. Not and then when we're told about it, it's like don't question it, right? Don't ask no questions. And I said, don't ask no questions. And that part right there is that's why I don't play because I can't I can't pull myself apart from that, right? Because like I said in the beginning, stop letting people play in y'all face. Because whether something is confirmed, misreported, or underreported, patterns still matter. And tonight we're gonna deal with those patterns. Not fear, not fantasy, not hoopla, but patterns. So like I said, welcome back to the Roundtable Talk Show. I'm your host, Christopher Unk Jones, and of course, you are on. We are on the Roundtable Knowledge is Power podcast live platform, and so tonight's episode, like I said, is when the corridor becomes the front line, and of course, I tried to set the tone early, but we are not separating global, state, and local. We are connecting all of it tonight. So I just want y'all to know. And I got my notes over here. I got YouTube, and I got some more notes right here, and I got some notes right here because I definitely again want not only my co-host to um, inform you all, but I am looking forward to as well. And I, of course, I know again living in the Gulf Coast, on the Gulf Coast, in the corridor, this conversation hits home for me. So others, just like we said in a previous show, when y'all say drill, baby, drill, that affects us. So I just want y'all to know that this is part of that connection, okay? Especially being that we are in conflict, not war, but conflict. I just want y'all to know that there's a difference. So um, yeah, we just want y'all to know how the system moves. Let me bring in my co-host. Um, Dr. Campbell, say good evening to the people.
Good evening, people.
Yes, indeed. That is the voice that cuts through noise, no patience for confusion. And she's, I call her an imaginative, precise thinker. How about it? Perry, say good evening to the people.
Good evening, people.
Yes, indeed. That is my big brother. Data don't lie. The Mr. Data don't lie. That's him right there. Mr. Data don't lie. And he doesn't misread it, I promise. Of course, my battle buddy Dustin Harris, my little brother, veteran, understands street level reality at the same time. Of course, I hope he tips in. He got some questions. I definitely need that veteran mindset to be on. And of course, you all, welcome back to the table. You all, our listeners and our viewers, of course, you can pull up a chair at any time you like. Reach out to our platform host if you feel free, if you feel froggy enough to come to the table with us. Of course, we want to get you in communications before we go in, but again, just let us know. We'll reach out to you if you want to come to the table. Of course. I'm excited about tonight. Again, I am a little anxious, um, in a way that I kind of reached out to my co-host and asked them, "Hey, if y'all hear me get, a little Uncle Sam ain't released me yet ish, pull me back in, because I might fall off." Segment one, of course, is our global pressure, Strait of Hormuz. Before I even pass it, let me anchor this right fast. If the strait gets disrupted, everything moves different. Dr. Campbell, you ready for your shot?
So ready.
Absolutely. The question I want to know, or the shot that I got for you, Dr. Campbell, is when tensions rise in the Strait of Hormuz, how quickly could the global economy feel the shock?
Well, the global economy feels the shock very fast, sometimes even within hours, definitely within days. And here's why: because oil prices will jump almost immediately. Uh, about one in every five barrels of oil passes through the Strait of Hormuz. Gas prices follow quickly, often within days.
Hmm.
Then stock markets react the same day as traders panic about energy and inflation. And then shipping and insurance costs rise, pushing up prices for goods worldwide within weeks. So even rumors of trouble there can ripple through the global economy almost instantly.
Hmm. Absolutely. That's exactly the part, people underestimate, Queen. It's not just economic impact, it's chain reaction impact, right? Gas don't just go up, food cost shifts, transportation shifts, and tightens, right? Supplies slow down or stop completely, right? And then what happens? Pressure hits everyday people. So when folks act like uh this we ain't got nothing to worry about, that's over there.
Mm.
No, poo poo, you sadly mistaken. That's over here. You already behind. I just want you to know they're already behind. So for our guest shot, I'm gonna give this to my round table and to our listeners and viewers so that they can engage with us on this evening. Um, the guest shot is: how should Americans separate real geopolitical risk from misinformation during moments of international tension? Anybody want to touch on that here at the table?
I will.
All right, good. Go ahead, Dr. Campbell.
Here's a simple way to tell real risk from noise when tensions spike. Check the source. Trust major, well known outlets. Be skeptical of screenshots, anonymous posts, or insider claims. Look for confirmation. If it's real, multiple reliable sources will report it. One loud post isn't enough.
Yes,
Watch official
yes.
watch official actions. Markets, military moves, or government statements matter more than rumors. Of course, okay. Watch that orange orangutan, huh?
Tang.
Dang. Slow down. Misinformation spreads fast. Real events usually develop, not explode out of nowhere.
Right.
And then ask one question: who benefits if I panic right now? If the answer is clicks or chaos, be cautious. The rule of thumb is real geopolitical risk shows up in facts and actions, not just scary headlines.
Hmm. I totally agree.
So that's how you
I t-
tell.
I totally agree. Because we can't just say separate misinformation and it'd be all right. That's too passive. You don't separate truth by waiting on confirmation of the truth. It's the truth. The truth is the truth. It don't need no proof. It is what it is.
The truth gonna
You
stand.
separate on its own, whether you validate it or not. So you don't separate it by watching movement. If military posture changes, that's real. If markets react, that's real. That's truth. That's fact. That's proof. If policy shifts, that's real. Everything else, that's narrative control. I just want y'all to know that. Um, the, oh, false flags, even if you will, but it's what we call it in my space. False flags. Beware of the false flags. I mean, the scripture even told you beware of the false prophets. Go ahead, Perry. I got a shot for you. You ready?
I'm ready.
Man.
I see you about to take it. You about to take it and run on and see what the end gonna be with that one.
Man, I'm telling you, bro. It smell good. I might even light it on fire for you. You know what I'm saying? Um, Perry, how dependent is the global energy system on all moving through that single corridor?
Uh, as Dr. Campbell said, it accounts for 20% of global oil consumption. So, that in itself, while is not the majority, it is significant enough that it is causing disruption globally, uh, especially now that you see some countries attempting to go to their reserve stockpiles, which in many cases, uh, and we know for sure the U.S. Stockpile was not at its standard uh, measurement because of recent events preceding this administration and this administration's inability to replace those reserves, it puts us in a precarious, if not, uh, I would say, to try to get sympathy for the U.S. on a global scale among allies and especially our enemies at this juncture. I think they're in some ways just waiting, not for American sake, but the fact that our leadership has caused this disruption globally. I mean, and now we're talking Strait of Hormuz, talking about false flags. We're talking the Strait of Hormuz, while just a few hours ago they're releasing sanctions, years long, decades long sanctions from Bahrain to some of our other enemies, so that now they can sell oil on the free market.
Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. You 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 messy it in Miss Cat.
So closing the Strait of Hormuz was enough to catch our attention. Uh, but I just think that was one of the ignition points that's going to lead to even bigger. I think I don't think this leads to war, but it is a different it will lead to some different change in orders of some on a world scale. I mean, America is already losing its intelligence from its allies, and
Exactly.
with the dollar being the one commodity that's based on oil, I mean, it spells close to doom for Americans. But I don't believe in that. I mean, I don't believe in that in that doom per se. But
Yeah,
yeah, it is on the road to destruction for sure.
absolutely. I mean, and like I said, exactly, because what you just said, Perry, proves the bigger issue. Dependency equals vulnerability. If people were listening, like I was hearing, and when you got a single passage controlling that much flow, you're not just dealing with supply, right? You're dealing with leverage, pressure, and tactic. That's strategy, y'all. I'm just, again, in my space and not my space. Um, and how I operate. I like the way that you broke that down, even not being uh prior service military, just just being who and where you are. Dustin, man, welcome, brother. I'm so glad you're here. I definitely needed the uh military backup that comes from um us sharpening and exposing as much as we possibly can to our civilian brothers and sisters. So I'm glad you're here on this evening, man. My shot that I got for you, I'm gonna set it on fire too, because this one gotta is gonna burn. It's gonna burn. So I'm try to burn some of the alcohol out, but it ain't gonna all go. I'm just letting you know. How seriously do intelligent agencies treat the possibility that overseas conflict could trigger violence or retaliation here at home?
First off, our intelligence agency is run by idiots and fools currently. So it is what it is. But let's get beyond that to the point of talking about stuff going on overseas could trigger a violence or retaliation at home. The last time there was an attack on American soil that was solely from another country, was Pearl Harbor. You heard what I said. That was the last time, Pearl Harbor. Because what they like to do is play these games to, well, oh, we was attacked. Cool, but your story ain't lining up. Let's play this recent game that they're probably going to use to strike somewhere in America with these drones that's apparently missing. Now, as a military member that worked on a base with drones, I know a few things. One, it's hard to get on that base. Two, once the people at work by the drones leave for the day, that building is locked down. It has a security system to it that has motion detectors. So once you get past the door that's locked and past the alarm that apparently you don't know the code to, and somehow got past the motion sensors, by the time you looked at grabbing anything, security forces would be there. Because as being, once again, I was a building custodian of a building that had drones in it. So I would get woken up in the middle of the night because a bird flew through the hangar. So you telling me someone got on base, got in the building, walked around to where the drones were sitting at, grabbed some drones, and walked out and then got off base. Man, we had a base shut down and was walking hand to hand, base wide, because a screwdriver was missing.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
So it's cool. All of a sudden now they're getting alerts. Oh, California's gonna get attacked by drones. Huh, weird how drones just come missing, but yet not an attack gonna be by drones. Cool. Let me guess, you're gonna attack an area of California that y'all want to develop for something else. Just like them fires that suddenly burned a bunch of people's houses that you suddenly want to develop the land for the Olympics.
Right.
Weird how that works.
Weird. That weird.
But if, the intelligence agency is going to be the intelligence agency, so, if they feel there's an outside threat or a personal inside threat, they'll ignore it until after it happens.
I mean, again, for somebody that, that has a particular level of insight into military practice, I'm so glad you brought that home, because I'm not worried, me personally, about an attack from a foreign entity in America. I'm worried about an attack happening on American soil by Americans. And so I just want to be real clear to let our audience know we don't jump to conclusion, but we daggum show don't ignore patterns. And one of America's worst terrorist groups, homegrown terrorist groups, is still considered to be active. There is also alleged other domestic groups, allegedly Antifa. And just like one of our senators requested the intel about Antifa and where they at, we at least have identified, according to the old FBI, not the current one, because they don't work. Yeah, we've identified, some potential supremacist sleeper cells. And I'm not gonna call them out by their, their ideology of being a particular race or culture. But Dustin, I appreciate that information because how you lose drones. um, Dr. Campbell, pull me up, please.
When global conflict pressure rises overseas while domestic tensions rise here at home, what questions should American public be asking that mainstream coverage often avoids?
The question that nobody seems to be asking is if all the systems are preparing for disruption, why are the people being prepared with the same level uh, of clarity? Why we are not getting that same alert, 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 abort, 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 and 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 my iPhone go off, and if I hit snooze, I promise it's gonna eventually make me move. Why haven't our government put us in that position? I'm getting feedback. Yeah, why haven't our government put us in that position? All they give us is stay calm, or they don't give us even that. We formulate the ideas off of the information that we read, see, and understand from just real news. People going on social media showing conditions that are actually happening where they are. And we have to draw conclusions because again our media has been hijacked. It's not like we could find out that information. Again, the press is selective about what's being put out to the general public. Even as military, it was certain things that we knew that civilians could know because they were scared of y'all gonna panic. Y'all didn't have the unction, intestinal fortitude, or the mindset to understand what the possibilities of the threat could be and or what the casualties could be. Not thinking that even the service members that they of course train was apt to receive that information themselves. So yeah, give me real information. Don't give me that hoopla. Don't give me that. And y'all lucky I got this queen on here tonight. I promise y'all lucky. That's the only anchor that I depend on to keep my mouth clean. I probably her and the purging of hyssop. I promise. That's it. Other than that, I because this particular topic, y'all, not understanding what Tang has got us involved in.
I
And that's
mean,
his
we
name.
are
It's
getting
not
information from
orangutan or nothing
several
else.
drunks.
Exactly. And cokeheads. I mean, that might be a blurt on all sources of um, you know, social media. I'm sorry. We love YouTube, TikTok, and all of them.
We would like to
That's where it is.
apologize to the other crackheads and cokeheads
Correct.
because these couple in the in that White House area, they worse. They giving y'all a bad name.
Flashpoint chat, y'all. This for y'all. Do you believe Americans are being fully informed about the geopolitical tensions affecting global energy supply? Put a one in the chat for yes. Put a two in the chat for no. Put a three in the chat for somewhat, and put a four in the chat for if you're not sure because you're not really paying attention to it. It has nothing to do with you. Um, Roundtable question for this particular topic is, of course, on our national level. If conflict in the Strait of Hormuz escalates and global energy markets are shaken, how prepared is the United States politically, economically, and socially for the ripple effects that could follow? Dr. Campbell, you have the floor.
Well, the short answer is partly prepared but fragile.
Hmm.
Here's a quick breakdown. Politically, the U.S. has plans and reserves, but partisan fights can slow decisions and confuse messaging. Economically, we produce a lot of energy, which helps, but oil prices still jump. and that hits gas, food, and shipping fast.
Hmm.
And then socially, this is the weakest spot. Low trust, high polarization, and online misinformation makes panic and anger spread quicker than facts. The bottom line is the U.S. can absorb the shock at first, but prices spike. Political gridlock and public stress could pile up fast if the crisis drags on. So it's not good for nobody.
Absolutely. Pierre, you got the floor.
Uh, I like the way Dr. Campbell said that. Uh, I'm gonna put it a notch, take it maybe a notch lower. When your leadership doesn't get along and doesn't feel accountable to those it represents, then the chances of you getting anything done is slim to none. This administration so far, or should I say Congress so far, under this administration, has passed the fewest bills ever. So chances of them solving issues in a crisis is like wishing Trump is going to wake up tomorrow and get it all together.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, we have leadership that is cowardly on both ends. It says on one end that if someone, our law says if someone comes into your house, whether invited or unannounced, if they disrupt the norm and the patterns of your house, you have every means possible to evict them, not just out of your house, but away from your property. But yet we have someone sitting in the people's house.
Come on here.
House.
Come
And
on
we're
here.
saying that we don't know. We're looking to protocols that don't exist, to statutes that we know America is founded upon, making treaties and violating them before the ink is dry. So I'm asking, who is the fool here? And so this is at our own peril of saying that we know how to govern. Our leadership is a reflection of how we say that we are going to govern. And so the one remedy is that until, as Frederick Douglass says, power concedes nothing without a demand. It never has, and it never will. And until our leadership feel that unrestless on both ends, when Democrats feel like, oh, we better get in there and fight like we've never fought before, or Republicans finding that they have a spine to stand up, then we're going to be in this quagmire. And so the answer is not for when will our leadership get enough, it's when will the people get enough. And maybe more high gas prices without $2,500 checks coming in the middle of June or right before the 4th of July so you can have your little outing. I don't think them checks coming this time.
Ooh.
So maybe that'll get you upset enough to say, I got to do more than just post a meme on Facebook or get on my TikTok and vent. We're going to have to change this.
Dustin, you got the floor.
I've never been one for doom and gloom, but we got sex offenders, rapists, con artists, drug addicts, alcoholics. What am I missing? Pedophiles,
Felons. Oh yeah,
people
go ahead.
with 2 feet in the grave, running the country. They change people in made up make believe jobs like they changing their draws because the moment you can't pull off whatever lie they need, they're gonna move you along. But that's what we got. Hopefully, with this, this new election cycle coming through, some people get some people know some spines and some education and some brain cells still left in their head. But I don't hold out no hopes for them. So I'm just waiting for, like them people say, well, if everybody go to jail, we'll have to start over with government. Okay, cool. Let's start over. I don't mind. Go and put the
Yeah,
job applications out there. Somebody will sign up.
yeah. They go through due process just like everybody else. The only difference is they don't get to go home. They gotta go to jail like we gotta go to jail. Like the less fortunate gotta go to jail because we can't make bail. And if we do, if we could, it's in the hundred thousands. So I'm with it on that one. Bottom line for me, global conflict is not separate from domestic life. I just want y'all to know that. Anybody, and I do mean anybody, still thinking that way, I hope tonight changes your mind. And if not, I'll say again, you're already behind the reality of what's happening, and there's no way that anybody can bring you forward. Um, I'm not saying that you are a lost cause, because again, I'm a part of a military that says no one, and I do mean no one left behind, and that includes those that are not informed. So that's the reason we're having this show, so that you could get your stuff together. Yes, get your stuff together. Segment two. Of course, we're gonna be talking about Texas and Louisiana, the energy power states, right? So I definitely want to bring it home because this region don't just feel. We don't just feel it. We live it and we feed it. So Perry, I want you to start off this round of shots, if you will. When global oil supply becomes unstable, how quickly do Texas and Louisiana benefit economically?
Uh, I think Dr. Campbell said earlier, in terms of revenue and in terms of the stock market and the oil markets, those are almost instantaneous in some
Mm-hmm.
cases. So that revenue in terms of taxes, yes, those states began to see some of those reserves uh, immediately. But at the same time, I mean, on the other side of that equal sign, that also means that consumers are now paying more, not just to fill up their tanks, but it's affecting everything from grocery prices to even if you are a small business owner, particularly in the food industry. You own a food truck now, uh, and you've invested into your business,
Yes,
and
sir.
that truck is running. Maybe if the truck isn't running on diesel, you sure got other burners that's running propane or LNG gas. I mean, so you're using you're seeing those prices go up immediately, as well as in the other goods and services. Everything from plastics to food is impacted. And so, yeah, in terms of seeing that increase at the consumer level, uh, that's probably 9 months, if not maybe a year away, because that depends on those prices being sustained, by which now businesses have more revenue and they tend to hire more because they got more money to play with. But in terms of the consumer, it's strictly a dice game. And you're coming in and the house and you already owe the house $500 for walking in.
Mm.
So it's a losing game. I mean, whatever money you're getting, you're putting right back into your tanks. And so yeah, I think uh this has the potential to be, if it's extended, to look in some ways uh as COVID is looking in some of your industry leaning businesses where profit, where salaries are very marginal. It's very hard for those people to get to work back and forth every day when gas has gone up now, in some cases, uh, you know, 90 cents to over $1.
Yeah.
So now
Yeah.
we'll be right back at return to office and all of these others that business was just trying to get over as a result of COVID.
Mm-hmm. Man. Man. So, Chad, we're gonna pull you up a shot again. This is, of course, usually our guest question. But uh, so yeah, I'm gonna pull y'all up right fast. Again, this for the chat, and if anybody at the table want to respond, want to take this shot too, I'll pull you up. Let me know. Um, what long-term planning should energy states implement to protect the communities that support their industries? I'm gonna post that in the chat for y'all. Anybody at the table want to respond? Okay.
Perry, you got something?
I just
Dustin
got
got
through with
some.
all my.
Dustin say I got some.
That's
Go ahead, Miss Cat.
okay.
Dustin, you could get it in there after Miss Cat.
Go ahead, Dustin. I'll go after him.
You mean could they do what other countries have done for probably over a decade now and create an energy reserve?
Ooh,
Things like that, where you store energy and the whole thing solar panels do. But this is America.
Mm.
okay. So this is what they should be doing, just like Dustin said. They should be saving during the booms. Okay, use good years to build rainy day funds for workers and towns when prices crash. Invest locally. Put energy money into schools, healthcare, roads, and broadband, not just pipelines. They should protect the workers, fund job training and retraining, I'm sorry, so families aren't stranded when cycles turn.
Mm.
Diversify the economy, grow industries beyond oil, manufacturing, ports, tech, and renewables. Plan for transition. Help communities adapt as energy changes instead of pretending it won't.
Mm.
The bottom line is take care of the people first, not just the profits, so towns don't rise and fall with oil prices.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's why. Go ahead, Perry.
Oh, well, since you asked me if I had something to add, can I pull out my little MD 2020 and add a little something to that one? Uh I think a few weeks ago, our soon to be leaving city attorney, city manager did say that ExxonMobil uh does make a sizable investment into our coffers, and so I guess that should lead us to ask, well, how are those dollars used in terms of preparedness? Because do we keep ExxonMobil? Do we blame that on ExxonMobil, or do we blame that on city leaders in terms of how the distribution of those funds are allocated? And does that meet our standard, help maintain our standard of living in a crisis?
Mm, mm,
So let me put
mm.
my little bottle back in my back pocket, and we can go and keep talking.
You took a swig or you pulled that in this side. You pulled that in that side. Your cup ran over. But no, that's why I say this, y'all. The system benefits fast, but the people don't. And we need to stop acting like those are the same thing because that's not. Um, and that's where the disconnect is, right? You can't build infrastructure on top of communities and not include those communities in the planning. That's not oversight, that's exclusion. Especially in a lot of the ways that we see living in the industrial South. So there should be more into the reserves, more conservative measures. Since y'all claim to be conservative in politics, there should be more conservative measures when it comes to energy consumption, distribution, and transportation. Because energy don't just sit where it's at where you find it. It moves. So yeah, Dustin, you ready for your shot?
Yep.
um or state governments adequately, and I do mean adequately, preparing Gulf Coast communities for environmental or industrial emergencies.
I'm gonna put this nicely. Um, did Irma, Harvey, Katrina, Ike, did any of them teach you anything? How about
Come
the
on,
ice
bro.
storms, 1 and 2? How about Corpus Christi running out of water? Um,
Beaumont
didn't
running out
Galveston
of
almost
water.
get wiped off the face of the earth? All right, and that's just Texas. We're gonna talk about what hit Louisiana,
Right, right,
Alabama,
right.
Mississippi, the inside part of Florida. To put it nicely, hell no. They can't keep people with having drinking water and power. So how they prepared to do what? Except let us die.
Wow, 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 wow. I mean, I gotta agree. No, bluntly, just out there, they're not prepared. That's not sugarcoating it. That's like not making mistakes or excuses for lack of funding or manpower, this, that, and the other that they try to throw at us. Most people don't even fully understand that these particular things surround you. Industries, you may not even know that there may be a military reserve center or something around you, and that's not your fault all by yourself. That's the lack of intentional education and access about what you have in your community. So I mean, man, Dr. Campbell, you ready for your shot? Golly, y'all coming with it tonight, and I'm loving it. You feel me?
Eddie.
uh why do communities living beside some of the world's most vulnerable infrastructures often remain economically vulnerable, and I'll even add disenfranchised.
Because value flows out, not in.
Hmm.
Profits leave the area, going to shareholders and headquarters elsewhere. Jobs are boom and bust, so incomes aren't stable. Tax breaks limit local benefits, even though the infrastructure is expensive and risky.
Hmm.
And environmental costs stay local, dragging down property values and the quality of life. Little reinvestment goes into schools, housing, or long term growth. Bottom line, these communities carry the risk, but they don't get the fair share of the reward, so they stay vulnerable, even next to $1 billion assets.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm. I mean, that's just calling it what it is. That's oh, we
But
exactly these communities. Go ahead, Queen.
you can like push your local leaders so that they can push back.
Mm.
You can talk to them or write to your local leaders and ask them to negotiate harder. Tie permanent
Yeah,
tax breaks to local jobs, cleanup funds, and community investments. You could ask them to lock in reinvestment, require companies to fund schools, roads, healthcare, and emergency response.
you own it. Yeah.
You can ask them to build coalitions, team up with neighboring towns to gain more leverage instead of going it alone.
And if they're doing it, Queen, at least let the community know that that's the kind of stuff that's going on, so that they're not already dissociated and even dissociated even more.
Exactly. Um, you could use transparency, or you could ask them to use transparency. Show residents where the money goes and
Yeah,
where,
Dr. Campbell.
huh?
Yeah, Dr. Campbell.
Yeah, you got to build public pressure, right?
Hmm.
Then you can plan beyond oil. Push for funding that helps the communities diversify, not just survive the next boom. So now you're going to use leverage, accountability, and unity. And this is how communities turn presence into payoff through their local leaders.
I mean, full read, full read. I mean, because these communities generate value, right? But they don't always, like you said, they don't always receive the investment at the same level of value that these industries around us and ports around us and other businesses around us generate, right? That's structural imbalance all day long, every day. And we need to stop pretending it's accidental or efficient.
Right.
Who gonna pull me up? I'm not gonna be too messy on this one. I don't think.
If Texas and Louisiana produce enormous energy wealth for the country, why do so many Gulf Coast communities still struggle with underinvestment and environmental stress?
I mean, I already said it. I said it before earlier, and then I said it a few shows ago, a few episodes ago. Y'all might have to go pull it up. Our, listeners and watchers, go pull that up. We talked about, when most Americans that do not live along the Gulf Coast scream and yell for a drill, baby, drill. That don't directly affect them, but it directly affects those of us that live along the Gulf Coast. And so, if this region powers the country, why don't the communities powering it have equal say in how that power is managed? You get it from us. We can see that can should be at least considered a royalty of ours, right? Or a mineral right of ours, right? You digging it from underneath our grounds anyway. You're even going sideways so that you can avoid letting us know that we even had minerals under our properties in the first place. That's the real question. That's the real question. How is that power managed, especially by us, the ones that, have to either work in these spaces or live around these spaces and die from the effects of these spaces being around our inhabitants. Again, we didn't build around industries built around us. And I have a mentor of mine, deceased, but he's still a mentor of mine, that said we didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. I'm just letting you know. So yeah, Texas and Louisiana shouldn't just react, they should leverage their position, right? Especially right now. They I want us to know that we carry the more weight right now, and they're using it, and we should be at least some type of recipient from the return of our investment. Segment 3, y'all ready? Um, we're going to talk about the local corridor, Gulf corridor, right? On the local side. Because this is where people get comfortable, and that's dangerous. I definitely don't want nobody to get comfortable. And I hope, my battle buddy definitely um pull the dress up on some of these imposters that we have within our community. So, Dustin, I'm gonna pull you up right fast because I know it's coming. I'm not gonna burn nothing off of it. I'm just throw it back. It's no dress, no nothing. It's no sugar, no. It's just a straight shot. Actually, this is a double shot, Dustin. Um, Might be even a triple shot. I'm gonna give you a long shot. Yeah. How aware actually are Gulf Coast residents about the strategic importance of the region they live in?
About as aware as a fly about to run into a windshield. Because since MAGA has taken over, all I've seen them do is give away land, give away resources to companies that ain't gonna contribute back to the region, give away access, give up their own property, be either willing or unwilling for some wall that ain't ever got built. Um, give up their tax, the state, no state tax privileges to several folks from California, several businesses from California, or anywhere else in the country that's trying to avoid taxes all of a sudden, like they paying them anyway. Um, so yeah, they got about as much awareness as that fly that's about to hit that windshield.
Man, and that's crazy because people think they just live near plants. No, no. You live in a strategic corridor. And I guess once we understand that we live in a strategic space and market for America, um, we should move different. I think we should move different, especially identifying again that we didn't build around plants and industry. Industry build around us 100%. Find out who you are. um At least find out who you are. No, we did not have a roundtable question. My co-host asked, "Were we not going to do the roundtable question?" No, ma'am. Because we're rounding up to an hour, so I definitely wanted to get our power shots out there. Um, our guest question, of course, for this particular round is what would and of course, chat, this is for you. What would real preparedness look like for communities living inside the Gulf Energy Corridor? Any one of my co-hosts can definitely respond to that. Um, if you like, I'm putting that in the chat for you all. And go ahead if y'all got it.
Real preparedness looks like this on the ground, not on paper. Clear emergency plans everyone understands with alerts that actually reach people fast. Strong infrastructure that can handle storms, backup power, flood protection, safer facilities. Well funded local responders trained for spills, explosions, and evacuations. Health protections like monitoring, air and water monitoring, plus medical support after incidents. Money set aside for cleanup and recovery, paid for before disasters happen. Honest communication from leaders about risk, not just reassurance. The bottom line, real preparedness means communities can respond quickly, stay safe, and recover without being left out on their own.
You're muted.
Yeah, my bad. She just saying, we just saying. We all just saying preparedness is not a panic at all. Preparedness is awareness. Preparedness is access. Preparedness is involvement and involvement right now. Most people don't even have all three. Start somewhere. And preparedness, I mean, like, it takes a lot. We don't know how to shelter in place unless we prepare. And that consists of a house or a structure that's sound and reliable and safe to shelter in place. Dr. Campbell, here's your shot. What responsibility do industry leaders have to communicate openly with communities living beside their facilities and even afar?
They have a clear responsibility and it's not optional. In simple terms, to be honest about risk, accidents, pollution, and storm impacts, not just best case scenarios. They have a clear responsibility to share information early, not after something goes wrong. And then they should explain emergency plans clearly in plain language so people can actually understand. They should listen to the residents, not just talk at them. And they should own the impact their facilities have on health, safety, and daily life. Bottom line, if communities live with the risk, they deserve clear, honest, and ongoing communication, not just silence or spin. Excuse me.
I agree. Industry has a responsibility, not only a responsibility due to their community, but a responsibility under law, right? You don't get to operate at this level inside communities and then limit transparency. That don't work like that. Of course, under this particular administration, environmental justice communities of concern has been removed. So the attention, excuse me, that we must pay around our areas of industry, and it's not just plants, y'all. It's train tracks as well. It's ports. It's airports. All of those spaces are considered or should be considered on in this discussion on this evening. Perry, you ready for your shot?
Pour me up.
Man, how can local residents better understand the infrastructure operating around them?
Um, to be honest, it starts with, and it starts with us. Uh, we've got to be curious. I know that kind of sounds like a crazy answer to that, but we've got to get out of this malaise of somebody's handling it,
Hmm.
because we see time and time again that that maybe someone isn't handling it, and even in instances where they are handling it, the the care is inadequate.
Hmm.
Now, now we can point to education. We can point to nepotism. We can point to a variety of many reasons of why.
Hmm.
But until we get curious enough to know, well, y'all, what does happen? We see, even if the propaganda does bring you to some sense of conspiracy, at least you should ask, well, what happens if maybe a drone does hit one of the oil chemical refineries here? Sounds maybe like a stupid question on some level, because you think, oh no, that just wouldn't happen. But we live life on folk who realize that was a day. Oops, that stuff happened to me. We've seen it in Harvey. We've seen it in unnatural climate change and cold weather that just broke our pipes and infrastructure at its core. We've seen it all, but we haven't seen everything. So how do we get prepared? And I know you can't prepare for anything, but again, I'm going back to Frederick Douglass. Power concedes nothing without a demand. And one way to demand something from power is to at least ask a question.
Hmm.
Because with power comes accountability. And so it comes back to the things that we have to begin to ask, because we've always assumed that someone was handling. I love the commercial that comes out. Well, we need somebody with COBOL experience. We got
Man,
systems that still need people with COBOL experience. Y'all, that's a problem. It's not drones, it's just our antiquated infrastructure. And we stand here with a hubris, our
hmm.
leadership. And we talk about how well manned our military is, and our military is trained. You two guys are representative of that. They've trained you well, your knowledge is well. It is good for us that knowledge that you got. But you also know some numbskulls in there, and and now we seen one of those numbskulls become Secretary of War, because they couldn't make Secretary of Defense because he didn't know a damn
He
thing
don't know.
about it.
He don't have no defense. He ain't got none.
To be fair, he was not active duty.
Right.
To be fair. Now we don't question nobody's service to us as a country. But if you even a Frenchman from France can serve in our military. So, and he was active duty. Mr.
Right.
Mr. Hedge Fund or whatever your hedgehog, whatever your name is. I told you once before, don't come after my military or my people like that. And I'm
Yeah.
gonna ask you again. I'm gonna ask you again. Don't disrespect my people, man.
Yeah. I mean, and our people don't understand how uneasy leadership is when you ask questions. It's
Mm.
like kryptonite to them.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
all you have to do is begin to ask questions.
right. That's where it starts, big bro. That's where it starts. Ask questions, show up, pay attention, because silence is where people get uninformed or misinformed, or things become misconstrued, right? Or folks get left behind. Who gonna pull me up? Ain't nobody gonna pull me up?
When you look across the corridor at cities like Lake Charles, Port Arthur, Beaumont, Houston, Galveston, and New Orleans, do you believe residents truly understand the role their communities play in the national energy system?
No. I'm gonna say it again. No. I'm gonna say it one more time. El no o. Because if power flows through your region and you don't understand that that's power, you're operating blind. And they want as many of us who are indigenous to these spaces, uh, uh property holders, bloodline legacy, bloodline lineage, related to these properties, to these spaces. Again, we could go as far east to Brownsville. I mean, West Texas to Brownsville, or El Paso, if you will, and um, you will find that all of that belong to indigenous people. I'm gonna say it belong to indigenous people. One more time. It belong to indigenous people. And to be the receipt holder and the receipt book says zero on my return of investment as a legacy or a lineage landholder to these spaces that you written my people out of. I mean, no, people just they don't realize they don't realize it. And a lot of our communities falter, our histories, again, even by being adjacent to ports, um where ports ended up popping up. Again, we didn't live by ports. Ports moved by us, expanded amongst us. And the whole time they showed us that there was no value in the space that we were living in. The whole time they showed us there was destruction, drugs and crime, sex, rape, and rock and roll. But what they didn't tell you was that you live on the most valuable pieces of property that this country can offer. Not only is it reserves, but it's refining properties now. Make that make sense. And completely rode the people out of it. So I'm a little bit agitated about how they celebrate the boom, the oil boom here in Beaumont and in Jennings, Louisiana. But you don't acknowledge the people, my people who were here before the boom. Or you just say, we found artifacts. And that's not fair to not only us as a people, but not fair to the true history of these United States. Roundtable question.
Mm.
I'm sorry, flashpoint. This for you, Chad. Do you ever think about the national importance of the energy infrastructure surrounding Gulf Coast communities? Put a one in the chat for yes. Put a two in the chat for sometimes. Put a three in the chat for rarely. Put a four in the chat for never, ever, ever have I ever. Roundtable question as I post this into the chat is as global tension rises and energy infrastructure becomes more strategically important, do Gulf Coast communities receive enough transparency and participation from government and industry about the risk that comes with living inside these corridors? Dr. Campbell, you have the floor.
Nope, not
Hmm.
enough. Information is limited. Risks are often shared after incidents, not before. Energy prep is uneven.
Hmm.
Some towns are ready, many aren't. Communication is vague, technical language instead of clear everyday explanations, and strategic risk is underplayed. Residents aren't told how global tensions raises local danger. So the bottom line is Gulf Coast communities carry national level risk, but they're often given partial transparency and incomplete preparation. So here's what residents should be asking of their community leaders right now. They should ask their communities for a clear, honest risk information before something goes wrong, not after. They should have a real emergency plan that's funded, practiced, and easy to understand. They should ask for a stronger infrastructure to handle storms, spills, and power failures. There should be a health and environmental monitoring with results shared publicly, guaranteed cleanup and recovery funds paid for in advance, a fair return on local investments. Local investments in schools, roads, healthcare, and safety, and ongoing communication, not silence when tensions rise. Because if communities carry the national level risk, they should demand national level transparency, protection, and investment.
Absolutely. 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 100%. Perry, you got the floor.
Uh, James Baldwin famously said, "I can't believe what you say when I see what you're doing."
Hmm.
And to that question, no. And everything that Dr. Campbell said, I mean, how can we expect it when after years and years of the public finding out after the fact, after the impact of so many of these discrepancies that industry was overstepping, and so that's when we began to have regulations and began to keep them accountable to some degree. Well, this administration, within one of the first things it did in this second go round, was eliminate regulations. So how can we even begin to anticipate that you're going to be accountable when you've already dismantled any structure that was there to even keep you accountable, even at a minimal risk? And so
Hmm.
instead of transparency, we got opacity. It's just opaque. And we believe it's just like a whiteboard. I mean, we can bring our own highlighters and draw whatever figure we want on there, but we are not seeing it for what it is. And so uh and we have a long history of that. Unfortunately, we're now we when it says make America great again, yeah, we're seeing what that greatness means for especially among some of the elite.
Hmm.
and putting back old standards that we know didn't work initially and now have no chance, but now they lack the regulation and the oversight to keep them accountable. So yeah, on top of this global unrest, we have an infrastructure unrest that does cause us uh to question our readiness in this situations, and God forbid we're now coming up on hurricane season in a few months.
Weeks.
We know that there's no FEMA, and so
No FEMA.
there's a lot at stake.
No FEMA. Dustin, you got the floor.
To quote DMX, he once said, always trust everyone to be themselves, but trust the fact that you can see them well. They saying we know who these people are. Let's stop pretending.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean like um we not being fooled, you know what I'm saying? Communities are not being given full transparency, true. But we pay attention to patterns. Some people pay attention to patterns and we just talk about it amongst ourselves. Um so yeah, as global tensions rise, yeah, we're paying attention. I remember a friend um come and visit that's from Beaumont, visiting Beaumont, and was like, "Man, y'all quiet." Well, one, um, we got war on the home front with gun violence and senseless crimes, and then two, you got war on the state front because we don't know who's friend or foe here in what we call the state of Texas or in the United States. And then the leadership that we obviously cannot impeach for nothing. I'm not understanding how the operations and processes of a tyrannical government does not kick in. I'm just not understanding that, y'all. I don't understand that, y'all. I'm at a loss of how the system don't kick in whenever it's being dismantled. I don't understand that. But you know, not all of us is operating blind. I just want those that's trying to put many of us in a precarious situation. Not all of us are blind. Not all of us are just gonna sit by the wayside while you try and target our communities and stoke fear, confusion, and frustration, along with the other things that they have to deal with on the local side, right? Finances, food. Yeah. Yeah. People I think people will continue to live in systems they don't fully understand, and some people are gonna die in some of those same systems. And so, um, and some of them are comfortable dying right there, and that's fine. For some, but for me, I'm sorry. I'm not. I just can't give you. I can't just let you take my life. I could maybe give you my life, but I can't let you take it. And the only one I think that can take what we say on this platform away from us is our platform host, because the things that we say are truth. Other social media platforms, they can remove, restrict, and bleep out some of whatever the conversation here is, but it's detrimental and needed to be had, and I greatly appreciate it. Give us something to close us out for the rest of the week. Dr. Campbell, you can start us off. Perry, you'll follow. Dustin, then you, and then I'll close us out.
Wisdom isn't ignoring danger, it's seeing it clearly and acting before the cost is paid. Those who stay alert protect themselves and their neighbors. So, in a nutshell, stay ready to keep from having to get ready.
Perry, you got the floor.
Um, Chris, you opened the door, and I know we've been talking about oil and the global thing, but I do want to focus on home because the news being away from Beaumont, I can only imagine what the people there are feeling, with some of these latest tragedies that have happened. Uh, so I'm gonna close. 22 years ago this month, Outkast released a song called Roses. And in that song it says, I know you believe your stuff don't stink, but roses really smell like boo boo. And catchy line, but it made me think this week. Manure is important. The stuff we go through is important. And the more quality of the stuff that comes out of you, the better. I mean, and so when we look for manure, we look for cow manure, horse manure, and it's not just because of that. I had to look that up. It's because of their diet that their manure is so highly
Sought
prized
after. Right.
of what it gives back. And as much as I love Sheba Shea, her manure is not the manure I want in my rose garden. It has some quality, but not the quality for my roses,
Right.
which is why we shoo them away. And I'm just saying, as I look at some of these beautiful roses that we built in our city and what the odor that's coming from it is from the boo-boo we putting in it.
Mm.
And that ain't the rose's fault. So we got to question the stuff that we putting in it. Because we growing roses, but they deform, y'all.
pH
And we
balance is
can't,
off.
and if we got to go back to Humpty Dumpty, we know all the king's horsemen and all the king's men couldn't put them back together again. So why are we looking to some other places to do what we can? Because what we've done, we're seeing the impact of it. I'm not saying it's all our fault. It's a myriad, and I'm not trying to put it all on us, but it does reflect some of our ineffectiveness and ability to not be accountable at due times. And so, rather than to point fingers, let's just point to we got to give our kids a future. Because the only thing that's filling their void right now is guns and destruction.
Mm.
And we know it says nature abhors nothing. It's a vacuum. If nothing's there, something gonna come in and fill it. And if we're gonna be biblical about it, the Bible says if you cast it out and you don't do something to replace it, when it comes back, it's gonna be 7 times harder. The
Yeah.
Bible says, not Perry, the Bible says that.
Yeah.
So I leave with that encouragement. It's not harsh. It's the where we are, because I hear the cries of concerned people in the city of Beaumont and Port Arthur. To see a young man at the prime of his life get 25 years. and adults clap for it. Yes, I know what he, but we're saying that our kids are unredeemable, and I know some may not be redeemed. But that doesn't stop us from trying to redeem the ones that are there.
Mm.
And I just say that
That's
in love. Let that hit wherever it is. I ain't talking about nobody. It just hurts my heart from afar.
appreciate that. Dustin, you got the floor.
Yeah, a few things I wanted to discuss, but I zeroed it down. Could have talked about the $200 billion this fool asked for. Um, could have talked about some other things, but I decided the city council would more like to be in my target house real quick. Over the because as Perry was saying, y'all puffing your chest out. Matter of fact, ain't just city council. I'm going all Jefferson County. Y'all up here
Uh-oh.
puffing your chest out. Talking about, oh, we gotta be tough on crime now. Gotta be tough on crime. Okay, cool. Let's play a game. I've watched 3 pedophiles escape jail time and just get probation in Jefferson County. Watch the man, I believe he was drunk, drove around an accident, created a bigger accident, avoided jail time. I remember the little girl who was on her phone, ran into the back of a garbage truck, killing a man, avoided jail time. There was a man the other day who shot at his neighbors over fireworks. I believe it was fireworks. Avoided jail time. There seemed to be a pattern on your sentencing and who you want to punish to make an example out of. But I ain't gonna go there. I'm just saying, since you want to be strict on crime, be strict on it across the board. Don't sit up there on your high horse talking about, oh, well, this crime should be punished for this. No, 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 no. Crime is crime. Because I ain't checked nowhere. Yeah, it might be a felony, but that's still a crime. So whatever let's take it serious. Let's do it. You got the mayor out here doing live stream videos. Let's hold everybody accountable. So since y'all gonna be strict on crime, I'm gonna be strict on the city. Mayor West and the rest of the city council, including whoever y'all vote for to be city manager. This city, as well as others, don't have YMCAs, don't have boys and girls clubs, don't have any outlet for children. But yet you want to know why they doing adult stuff, because they always around adults. Because they ain't got nowhere to play. Oh, well, we put up these parks. Oh, you did. Cool. Who wants to play basketball when the sun is beating down on them? Your parks need shades. Or at least go plant some doggone trees. We need recreation centers. I don't know if you noticed, but Beaumont has made a boom in swimming. How about we put some pools back down? You can't swim at a splash pad. And that's a whole list, but I'm going to let y'all make it for today. Y'all, since y'all circumvented the bond election system and decided to pass some bonds anyway, pass those. Get those done.
Absolutely, man. As always, I definitely appreciate my co-host meeting me here at this round table on Tuesdays usually, but as you see, today is Thursday. So we'll definitely be back on our regular scheduled program next week, which is next Tuesday. Um, so I hope that this didn't throw too many of y'all off from us being on Thursday. But I definitely want to leave you all with this. This region and the regions that we mentioned, from again New Orleans to Houston, the entire industrial Gulf Coast. Uh, this region is not secondary. I want y'all to know we are not secondary. Not even when this conflict ends, we are not secondary. We are central to everything America, okay? Global tension rises, this corridor matters. Energy shifts, this corridor matters. Military movement increases, hello, this corridor matters. And the problem is that too many people living here don't fully understand their positions in living in this type of corridor. And that's okay, because, you know, it was designed that way. But I was just speaking to my co-host and finding out, even through some engagements I had over the weekend, that we have restructured some things here in Jefferson County. And a lot of the old things that were are no longer. And so we definitely want our community to understand one of the most important spaces that we're trying to engage you and have you to understand right now is a precinct chair. And so be in awareness and be in, you know, in the know of what a precinct chair is, because within the next coming in a few coming weeks, we're going to be hitting y'all real hard on what a precinct chair is. Um, and in that instance, you know, we'll be able to stop the things that are happening to us now, because awareness is not operational anymore, it's necessary. I definitely again want to thank y'all for tuning in. Again, tune in with us on next Tuesday. And as always, stay prayed up, stay prayed up, stay prayed up. Thank y'all for watching. God bless. Good night.